Good evening. You have reached Heather Rice's Team Zoom call. It is the first day of March, March 1st, 2016. We're going to get started here, and I wanted to specifically quickly do some housekeeping notes. I posted a video on our team page today that had to do with compliance, and I would like to ask that each one of you watch that. It is an excellent video because our compliance department put it together with the attorney that actually represents us. And there's so much information out there that we, up until this point, haven't really had a firm guideline on what to say, what not to say, all of that. So this is a good thing that we have, and it's put in place, these boundaries are put in place to protect us and create an avenue where we can flourish and not have to worry about watching our back because we are staying within the compliant rules. So if you guys would please take a look at that, pass that on to your teams. You should have received via email from your the corporate, it came from corporate today. So you should have received that, but if not, you can look at it on my page. I want to talk about what your passion temperature is for your business right now. You don't have to raise your hand, but everybody's going to be at a different place here. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I barely have a pulse, to 10 being I need some oxygen because I am running so fast I can barely catch my breath. Think in your mind right now with me about where you fall on this temperature gauge as far as running your business and how motivated are you right now. There's different people at different stages all on our teams, and we want to really reach out to those who aren't in the stage of their business that they really would like to be right now. So for that, I would say a good question to ask yourself is, do you really have a burning deep down inside in your middle, in your gut, where you use that as your fuel to run your businesses? And so I'm going to mute an audio here because I keep hearing some background noise. Okay, there we go. So you can't kind of be passionate about this business. You're either all in or you're all out. It's kind of like saying, are you a little pregnant or are you pregnant? You can't really be partially pregnant. You're either you are or you're not. So what I want us to examine tonight would be, maybe if you're not exactly where you want to be, then what will it take for you to get there? Maybe there's something that is holding you back. Maybe you have a fear. And one of the things that I learned this week in our Jewel training was breaking down that word fear, F-E-A-R, and that can stand for false evidence appearing real. That's a good way to remember it because I think there's a lot of times when we can conjure things up in our mind that create habits or things that we do based on a fear, and that fear sometimes and most of the times never really materializes. So one of the things that sweet diamond Sonia Dudley, who is one of my friends and mentors, gave us as a tip, and I think it is a great tip, and for those of you who have an iPhone, I don't know if it works on other phones besides the iPhone, but I know it works on the iPhone, and it's this little app called Repeat It Again. And what it does is this is a way that you can really focus on positive affirmations. And one of the things that I don't do nearly as often is do positive self-talk. And this sounds kind of awkward or foreign if you're not used to doing this. There was a girl at our Jewel training last week that stood up and said that she gave her testimony. She's been working on coaching with Sonia one-on-one. And her business has absolutely gone out the roof since she started doing this. So I went to the Repeat It Again app, and I want to kind of show you guys real quick. Basically, it's you set your own affirmations, okay? You just record things that you want to remember and you want to keep visiting so that you can have this ever playing in your mind, and you can record it on here. There's places to record 9 different affirmations, and each one can be different. You can do a maximum of 2 minutes for each one. And what you do with this, the way that this can help you become income producing is that we become what we think about. So if you have the opportunity, look at this Repeat It Again app and record yourself saying something positive that you need to remember on a daily basis. And this might be something that you replay over and over and over again in your mind. And the cool part about this is you can set this cute little app to repeat it as many times as you want. So say you're getting ready for work and you want to think about these positive things. I'm going to play some of the ones that I've set for mine just to kind of give you guys an explanation for some of the ones that I'm going to try to work on. And I'm going to play these over and over for myself, okay? I'm going to play these for you. I hope that you can hear them. Let me try here. I can make it to Sapphire by the end of this year. Did y'all hear that one? I can make it to Sapphire by the end of this year. Here's another one I did. I can do hard things. I can do hard things. I am passionate about helping people. I am passionate about helping people. I will walk away from things that yield negative thoughts or actions in my life. I will walk away from things that yield negative thoughts or actions in my life. I am capable of achieving great things. I'm capable of achieving great things. I have 3 more. I will stop saying the word when I'm making a presentation. I will stop saying the word when I'm making a presentation. I do not have to fill silence with words. I do not have to fill silence with words. I will pay at least 1 compliment to someone per day. I will pay at least 1 compliment to someone per day. Those are the ones that I have so far. But what my intentions are is to wake up in the morning and play 1 or more of these when I get up. Now, some of them are they seem to me like I'm saying them, but I don't really believe them right now. I'm just speaking from the heart and being transparent. This first one is the Sapphire by the end of the year. Right now, I feel I feel 2 ways. I feel like it's possible, but I feel like it's so far away that it's really going to take me listening to that over and over and over to create that true belief in myself that's going to give me the actions that create results, that are going to be income-producing activities. So for me, that first one is, I know that I can do it, but it seems very far off. So I want you guys to not necessarily, if you decide to do this, pick things that necessarily seem easy, okay? I want you to pick things that feel like they're a bit challenging, because here's what the girl who gave her testimony at our Jewel training said. She said, at the beginning, these things seemed so foreign to me, but I just kept saying them every day, repetitively. She said for 30 days, and she has seen enormous growth in her business, because the things she's been saying to herself, we become what we tell ourselves. So if we say, you may think you're a beautiful person, but if all along everyone in your life has always told you that you're ugly, then you start to believe that, right? How many of you guys have had something like that in your life, that you have been told something for so long? You're stupid. You're not smart enough. You'll never make it. You can't do this. What are you thinking? You don't have a college degree. You don't have enough time to do that. Where do you think you're going to get the skills for that? You weren't trained. You didn't go to a technical college. All of these things are negative tapes that we have played in our head forever and ever and ever. And as I've told you before, those of you who have trained with me for a while, our brain does not know the difference between truth and reality. So you could tell yourself you're ugly, and your brain doesn't know the difference. The more you put that in it, the more your behaviors come out ugly. You tell yourself, I'm worthy. I can do this. I can do hard things. I can get up in the morning and get my day started. I can pay a compliment to somebody. All of these things are things that we are capable of, but sometimes our mind does not allow us to go there because we're not marinating long enough on the thought. So that's one of the things that we talked about, positive affirmations and how they can really help you. And I thought it was a really, really great, this actual app was a really great app. And Sonia told us about this, and she plays these over and over again. The other thing I thought of is I've never really been very good at memorizing scripture, but since this gives you 2 minutes, you can read something to yourself. I can't remember the exact scripture reference, but I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I believe it's in Philippians 4:9 or something like that. But if that's something that you needed, a positive affirmation to tell yourself over and over again, this is a really great tool. So I want you guys to take me up on trying it. The other thing is that there was a clear expectation that we need to revisit our whys. And we've talked about our whys. We've gone over and over in lots of training about our whys. And you know what? Here's the deal. There's still a lot of people that don't really have a why as to why they are doing this. Why are they doing this Plexus job? So I want to go over some things with you guys about revisiting your why. And maybe you don't have a strong enough why right now to propel yourself forward. So my advice would be to dig deeper, okay? So I want to tell you my why. My why, your why can evolve. Originally, my why was that I just wanted to get my product paid for. When you reach the why goal that you have, you need to create a bigger goal. And then when you continue to reach those goals, then you're going to get to a point where you're going to look at things that go beyond you, okay? A bigger significance, a bigger way that you can impact the world. And those things are with your why. And so my why now, as I told you a few weeks ago, is to retire Jason from his corporate job. I would love to be able to do that. So that's going to be my fuel. That's going to be the thing that keeps me doing this every day, regardless of whether or not the back office is cooperating, regardless of whether or not customer service gives me the right answer, or if I even get into customer service on a call. That should never waver. When your why is so strong that you have a reason, okay? Roz Payne shared her testimony. For those of you who've heard it, those of you who haven't, she was working at an ad agency for 17 years. She's a diamond, and she was also one of our speakers this week at our training. And one of the things that is her why, it's her biggest why, is her son, who has some sensory integration issues, which required to have therapy that was going to cost about $1,000 a month extra than what her family could provide. And we all know that when we have kids or we have something we believe in, whether it's you're big on pets, or you want to help build a well in Africa, or you want to help with an orphanage, or you want to be able to give more to your church, the why is what's going to drive you. And it's what's going to give you the fuel and the motivation to reach that goal. It helps you to stay focused on your business. And even when our issues arise, it pushes you. It's the thing that pushes you to continue to reach that goal, that why. So When you have times that are low, which we all do because this business is cyclical and you're not always on a mountaintop. Sometimes you're in the valley. But in the valley, when you're on your way back up, you have the choice on how you're going to look at the situation. And so in the low times, you may have to go back and revisit that why, but I want us all to focus right now on creating a very strong why, okay? Now, it's okay for someone to say, why I want to do this is because I want to help people. Okay. That is a good starting point. Okay. But it goes deeper. And for that, I would say, tell me more about that. I really, really want you to dig deep. Tell me what does that look like for you? You want to help people, but what does that mean? Do you want to be able to give extra money to the American Heart Association because you feel strongly about helping people with heart health or whatever it is? Dig deeper and don't stay on the surface of, I just want to help people, because you guys, that's not going to be what you wake up every morning and say, I love waking up because I love helping people. That may be true, and that is probably one of the things that drew you to this business. But what is the real down nitty-gritty reason? Really, really think about that. And so what I want to help you guys do is help you and your ambassadors identify what their whys are, okay? So you may want to take a few bits of notes. I'll try to go a little slow, but here's some of the questions that you, as their leader and as you leading a team, if you have one ambassador under you, you're a leader. So you have to have your own why. It has to be something that fuels you and motivates you, but yet you also have to know why the leaders in your downline, what's their why? What's their reason for wanting to do what they're doing? Because this is going to enable you to support them. It's going to enable you to help them along, help them reach their goals, help hold them accountable. Because if they don't have a strong why, it's easy to get demotivated, unmotivated. I don't know what the right word is, but so you can ask them questions like, so what are your financial goals? What are your financial goals? What are the things that you see wanting to do with the extra money that you're going to bring in from your Plexus business? What are the freedoms that you desire? What are the things that you look at in your life and you say, man, if I only had this, I could do this. So what are those freedoms? Another thing you'd want to ask is, where do you see yourself when you reach this goal? We had the discussion a couple calls back about writing down who in your life, the top 3 people that need you to succeed at this business. And so I don't know if any of you guys took that to heart, but if you didn't, write those down too. Who are the 3 people in your life that need you to succeed at this business? Okay? And then like we spoke about in the call a couple weeks ago, write down the reasons why they need you to succeed. And what will that feel like when you actually reach that goal? What will it feel like when they're celebrating that success with you? So those are some of the other things you can say. How does it feel and what does it look like? What do your goals look like? What do they feel like? You can be very descriptive. You can use lots of adjectives, but I want you to write it down and keep it close. Because if you keep it close, you can visit it often. Because sometimes we need to revisit things just to keep them in the forefront of our mind, because life can get really, really tough. Amongst all the other things that we have going, many of you guys work extra jobs outside of Plexus. And so you have a million things going. You've got families that you take care of. You have multiple kids. You have homeschool kids. There are so many things that we put our energies into. But whenever it comes to your Plexus business, in order to stay on track, you have to know why you're doing it. Or you can create a lot of excess noise, I guess, that doesn't need to be there. So know what your why is, because that's the fuel that helps you and the reason that you stay self-motivated. Nobody can create your why except for you. So I encourage you this: when you're talking to your people and you're trying to find out what their why is, let them do the talking and you do the listening. So what this might look like is if you sit down with the people that you feel like are going to be your top leaders, your top runners, the ones that are constantly showing up to the meetings, constantly giving you their feedback, constantly asking for help, wanting to grow their business, what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to really pour into those people. And when you're talking to them and you're trying to figure out a clear understanding of what their why is, that may mean silence. And silence, I know for me, is very hard because I'm a talker by nature. And sometimes it seems so easy to just fill it with more words. But I'm really trying to be cognizant of that. And that's something that we need to do with our people too. If you start talking and you say, what's your why? And they say, I don't really know. You say, tell me more about that. Let's talk about that. And you engage them and you continue to keep pulling things out with asking them interrogative questions. Well, what does that look like? How would that affect you? Where do you think you'd be if you reached that goal? These are all things that as a leader we have to do to help our leaders create that strong why. Because if they create a strong why, that's duplicatable. They can teach the people below them, what is your why? How do you develop a strong why? And so when we know that our leaders below us have this why, we have this camaraderie because we're not just here to have a social hour. We have a distinct goal ahead. And so you may reach your why at a certain point. Like I told you, mine was, I just want to get my product paid for. So then, like I said before, you're going to look for things that are of greater significance. Like for me now, I do want to retire Jason from his corporate job, but also, y'all, I have such a passion for watching you guys and helping you guys however I can be the best you can be. So whenever you see other people at meetings or on calls or whatever, and you start to get that, oh, I'm not as good as her, I can't speak as good as her, I'm never going to be able to have the stage presence that this person has, I don't know all the information she knows, here's what you say. We are working together to be the best you. You don't have to be me. I don't want you to be me. And everybody out here wants you to be the best version of you. So when you start to think of things that are bigger than yourself, you start to think of bigger goals for your team, or maybe even bigger than your team. Maybe you want to do charitable giving. Maybe you want to support a special cause. But the main thing is when you finally get your why, okay, people start to see your passion because that why is what's driving you. Okay? And it's been said that people don't buy the product, they buy what you believe in. Okay? And so they buy why you do it. So if you were, for example, to set out on a quest to really dig deep down and discover what your why is for why you do this, and you were to share that with somebody, if you were to share that on your Facebook page or what have you, do you believe that if you were watching you give your why, do you feel like your why would give other people hope? Do you feel like when you're talking to people, they really get the gist of you and why you're doing this? Because really, all of us that have done this a while know it's not just about products that help us get healthy. This is about the experience of becoming better human beings. This is about developing relationships and friendships and camaraderie and teamwork with people that we're going to do life with. And those are the people that begin to trust you because they believe, they have that belief in what you are doing. And so, I've said before, I don't feel like I'm ever selling anything. I'm just sharing. And so when you share, you're telling people what you believe in. We don't have to follow people, y'all. We follow people because we want to follow people. And so ultimately, we are selling ourselves. We're not really selling a product. Although we are selling a product, people are buying us. People are looking and saying, this person is somebody that I can relate to. And I was talking to an ambassador today who had given me their hope for one day being able to use some of their Plexus funds to support a charitable cause that they really believed in. And so we were talking about, and they had this kind of aha moment where they said, you know what, maybe I should start letting people know that that's what I want to achieve. Because think about this way. If you said right now, I'm going to use Melinda, for example, because I know that she has such a heart for animals. And she will take in and nurse and help any animal, okay? I don't have that. That's not my niche. But you know what? The world needs Melindas too. And so here's the deal. If Melinda posted something on her Facebook page about how much she believes in rescue of a certain dog breed, let's just throw this out there as an example, okay? Let's say poodle rescue. I'm just making this up. But let's just say that she had a real burning passion for poodle rescue. And the way that she was going to be able to have the extra funds to contribute to this cause was because of her Plexus business. So she's going to do the best she can to let you know how important the poodle rescue is for her. And if you are one of her friends on Facebook and you are actually seeing her love, her heart, her desire, her need, her want for helping these poodles that need to be rescued, you may have something that connects with Melinda. You may be a huge pet lover, and you may not like poodles as much, but maybe you like golden retrievers. And golden retriever rescue is in your neck of the woods, and that's something that you feel passionate about. You're going to feel an automatic connection to Melinda because Melinda has voiced what her why is, okay? Are you guys following me? Shake your heads if you are. I hope I'm not just babbling and it's making sense. Okay, so ultimately we're selling ourselves. We attract the same kind of people that we are, all right? Now let me change gears here for a second. Now, I think that there has been a bit of a misconception in the training process that we've used maybe some in the past, and that is this. I think we have the tendency when people, because it is easy to compare your journey to somebody else. So someone might get on, start the business, and they may expect their journey to be just like mine, which was 84 customers in the first month, second month, whatever. Okay, that's not realistic for everyone, okay? And so what I want you to understand is this. You are you, okay? And sometimes I think it's easier to explain to somebody, well, maybe the reason why you're not getting this many people is because you don't know enough people. Maybe you don't have enough friends. And I know a lot of people use this as an excuse sometimes. They say, I don't ever leave the house, or I don't, whatever. And I think our tendency has been to say, well, you need to just get out there more. You need to go out and join some social clubs. You need to get, blah, 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 whatever it is. But guys, let me tell you this, and let me share this with you, because I don't want people to come into this and be so excited and then feel like they fall flat because they don't meet the expectations that they see they've put on themselves that maybe other people have been able to reach, okay, since we're all different. Some people, when you take a look deep, deep down, okay, and I'm not saying it's any of you on here, I'm just saying there's people within organizations, okay, that the answer is not go get more friends, go join a social club, go drop your business card out to more people. Guys, there are a lot of people that lack influence, okay? They lack influence even in their circle, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that except for the fact that in order to be able to successfully do a business such as network marketing, you have to have influence amongst your circle, whether that be your peers, whether that be the people that are watching you. And so this is not something that can be just dropped off, okay? This is a very serious matter because if you don't have the influence, you may not be able to gain people's respect of you. They may not They may not feel like they may not be able to connect with you right. So for those of you who have people on your team, or if deep down you feel like this might be your struggle, I don't know y'all's hearts, but I would highly recommend this 60-year-old book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an exceptional book because it's the #1 self-help book for the last 60 years, all right? It's chock full of information that will help you if you feel like you lack influence, or that people don't just flock to you. This book will help you understand maybe why. Maybe it's just the way you come across to them. Maybe it's the way you posture yourself. Maybe it's the way you use maybe it's a different way that you use your words. I highly recommend this book, guys. If you know somebody that's struggling with this, or you just feel like possibly you could maybe get a lot farther along in this business if you had a little bit more influence, this is an awesome book, okay? And I know we recommend books a lot, but I will tell you from the jewels down, this book has been one of the ones that people have recommended when people say, well, I just don't feel like I have that many friends, or I don't really know how to cultivate those friends so they'll take me seriously. So once you have your why and you feel like you're not going the way you want it to go, maybe you should look deep and look at yourself. And all of us have to be self-reflective. I feel like there's so many books we throw at you. Any of the John Maxwell books are going to be great leadership books. But before you can be a leader, you have to know how to relate to people. And sometimes that is a hard thing. We're not all born leaders, okay? That's something that has to be cultivated. And that takes time. That takes study. That takes a lot of self-reflection. That takes a lot of looking at yourself and going, man, I really stink at that. And I really need to get better. So if I don't know how to get better, I need to listen to the people who can tell me how to get better. All right, I'm not gonna beat that one into the ground. Let's see what's next. I pretty much covered all that I've been preparing for this, you guys, because one of the other things is practicing your speeches, practicing what you're going to talk about. Don't just come in at the last minute. Practice. So I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to do for that. Now I'm going to circle back to a challenge that I've come up with. It's going to be very easy for some and very hard for others, but it's going to be a stretcher for us. And I would like for all of you and those of you on your teams to do this. I would like you to revisit your why like we've done. And you can't get to it right here on this call. So I want you to maybe talk to your upline if you feel like you can't figure out your true why. But then guess what I want you to do? I want you to share your why on a video. And I want you to post that video to my team page. And I want you to do that without worrying that your why isn't good enough, because it's your why. I want you to do that as a stretching exercise, because guess what? We are all going to learn from each other's why videos. And we are all going to be able to help each other and encourage each other by watching each other's videos, okay? So this is the challenge that I'm going to say. Make your why video and share it on the team page. And you can do that as soon as tonight or tomorrow, but I really want you to take some time to think about really what your why is. And I'm going to expect for us to pass this information on to our teams as well. And some of you guys have newbies. So guess what? New ambassadors, the very first step is to figure out your why. So what we're going to do is you are going to pass on the information that you took from tonight, and you're going to help those who you've signed on develop their why, and they're going to make their video. So it's a stretcher, and I know that a lot of you guys are probably freaking out that I said you have to do this, but this is how we're going to learn. Vulnerability is part of that. speaking out. If you can't tell somebody your why, then how are they gonna even want to follow you? Okay, so that's what I have for tonight, and I'm going to end the recording and unmute the audio, and you guys